Hello, everyone. My name is Ben Clark. I'm a clinical supervisor here at CL Toronto. And we're going to talk today about basic ABA skills. And this is going to be part 2. So today we're going to talk about reinforcement delivery, delivering instructions, and behavioral momentum. So our learning objectives today are we're going to learn how to deliver reinforcement effectively. We're going to learn how to deliver instructions to maximize cooperation. And we're going to learn about behavior momentum, what it is, and how to use it. So reinforcement delivery. So it is important to change behaviors and it is important to change behaviors and to promote positive behaviors. So there are 3 components to consider when providing reinforcement, and that's distinctiveness, immediacy, and reinforcer variation. We're going to talk about each one of these. So distinctiveness. So this component is the most important to consider when you are using verbal praise. So when you're using praise, the individual should be able to tell the difference between praise and your instructions. So when I'm providing praise, I want to change the tone, the intonation of my voice so that the individual knows that I'm excited and happy about what they just did. So when I'm providing an instruction, I might say, "Pass me the cup." And then when I'm providing the praise for that, I might change the tone and my intonation and say, "Great job passing me the cup. You did such good work." Another thing is that the individual should be able to tell the difference between the reinforcer and other things going on in the environment. So this is just what we talked about. So varying the tone of your praise, providing specific praise. So making sure when we're saying good job, telling the individual what they did a good job at. So really great job putting your shoes on. Great job following my instructions. Be specific with your praise. And then we can combine verbal praise and tangible reinforcers. So for some of our individuals, verbal praise might not be very reinforcing. So we can pair that verbal praise with more tangible reinforcers. If an individual can't distinguish between your prompts, your praise, and the background noise, then your attempts to do reinforce probably won't work very well. So it really needs to be distinct, and the individual needs to, it needs to be special from what's going on in the environment. Let's check out a video of distinctiveness.
Nice job dusting the counter, Nicole.
So in this video, Nicole was dusting the counter, and Aislinn provided very specific praise, and she was very excited about the praise that she was providing. It was distinct to what else was happening in the environment. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is immediacy. So the reinforcer should be given while the behavior is happening, or no more than 3 to 5 seconds after it ends for it to work best. Immediacy. So we're waiting several minutes or even seconds might mean that your attempt at reinforcing has no effect. So if you're going to pick a target behavior and you're going to deliver reinforcement and you really want to increase that, we want to make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck with reinforcement. So that really means that you need to apply the reinforcement within 3 to 5 seconds in order to see the changes in that behavior that you want to see. And if you are not applying it in this 3 to 4 seconds, a break of minutes or hours or however long might mean that you're reinforcing a different behavior, which is not likely the behavior that you wanted to increase, and it could be a problem behavior. So let's check out a video of a non-example of reinforcement delivery.
Nicole, come sit down. Oh, nice job sitting down.
So in this video, Nicole came in, sat down, she followed the instruction quite quickly and promptly, and instead of delivering immediate enthusiastic praise, there was a break, and that means that the reinforcement might not be as effective, or Aislinn could have reinforced something else Nicole was doing in that time period as well. So reinforcer variation. So using many different reinforcers, not just one, will help slow satiation. So satiation is when a reinforcer stops working because it is being used too often. An individual may get bored with one reinforcer, so making sure we're trying a bunch of different reinforcers. When you are trying to reinforce a behavior, always make sure you have several items that are highly preferred by the individual. So juice, crackers, praise. Alternate between the preferred items or allow the individual to pick from two choices. And allowing choice just ensures that your reinforcer will maintain its effectiveness over time. If you provided the individual with the same reinforcer over and over again, they might get sick of it. So if you were providing, mini chocolate bars all day long for positive behavior, the individual would get very sick of mini chocolate bars. So varying the reinforcer is really important. Here is an example of asking an individual what they want to work for.
What do you want to work for today? We got a book, ball, you can watch TV, or a delicious donut.
Donut.
So in this video, they laid out 4 different reinforcers that the individual could work for, and they were able to choose. If an individual is nonverbal, we often say teach to the reach. So whatever the individual is reaching for or looking at, I would choose as the reinforcer. How to effectively deliver reinforcement. So we want to identify the behavior you are trying to increase. So really make sure it's a behavior that you can see and observe. What does that behavior look like? How do I know when it's occurring? So then we're going to choose several known or suspected reinforcers. And once we observe the target behavior, we're going to deliver distinct reinforcement within 3 to 5 seconds of the occurrence of that behavior. And then we're going to repeat this with a different reinforcer the next time you observe the behavior. Here's another example of reinforcement delivery.
Nice job dusting the counter, Nicole.
So in this example, Aislinn is delivering the reinforcement immediately after the occurrence of the target behavior. Things to keep in mind. For some individuals, you may need to get creative in identifying possible reinforcers. So talk with the individual and or anyone who knows them. So you can ask their staff, you can ask family members, you can ask the individual if they're able to communicate. Consider all kinds of reinforcers, including activities, tangible, edible, so a wide variety of different reinforcers. So we have some Q&A now, so we'll just go over some questions. So deliver reinforcement 15 seconds after the target behavior ends. Is this true or false? This is false. We want to be delivering reinforcement during the behavior or 3 to 5 seconds after it has ended. Use the same reinforcer repeatedly across multiple days. True or false? This is false. We want to make sure that we're varying the reinforcer as much as possible or offering the individual choice of different reinforcers. Delivering instructions. So we are often providing instructions to individuals that we support. It is important to know how to effectively give instructions to increase cooperation and reduce challenging behaviors. So components to delivering effective instructions. So the goal is to provide instructions that are clear and simple. It is important to be at the right distance, get the individual's attention, and help them to understand. We must also give the individual enough time to respond. How to deliver instructions effectively. So we're going to go over these 8 steps. So face the individual and get within 3 to 5 feet. So we want to be close to people, but not too close. Say the individual's name to get their attention and use gentle physical contact if necessary and appropriate. So that could be a tap on the shoulder, anything like that. Provide a brief, so a 3 to 5 word instruction. And then we're going to wait 5 to 10 seconds for the individual to respond. We're going to verbally repeat the instruction only one time. And then we're going to provide prompts as necessary. So this could be physical, gestural, or a model prompt. If the individual complies, provide reinforcement. If the individual refuses, stop and provide the instruction at another time. So here's an example of providing an instruction.
Hey, can you maybe go take out the garbage?
So in this example, the instruction was not provided effectively. So the individual providing the instruction was not orientated towards the the individual. They were not 3 to 5 feet away. The instruction wasn't clear. It was in the form of a question. So lots of different variables going on here on how to not provide an instruction. So in this example, we're going to look at how to provide an instruction and what that will look like.
Ben, please take out the garbage.
Okay.
So in this example, you can see that the instruction was provided very clearly. She was 3 to 5 feet away from him. She used his name, and he complied with the instruction quite quickly. So things to keep in mind. You can't describe all tasks in 3 to 5 words, so we might need to break larger tasks down into smaller tasks. So follow the whole procedure. So gain the individual's attention, provide prompts as necessary, wait 5 to 10 seconds for the individual to respond. Immediately reinforce compliance. So as soon as the individual complies to the instruction, we want to reinforce that cooperation and tell them what a great job they're doing. So avoid nagging the individual. So we're going to avoid repeating the instruction over and over again. And we're going to break down tasks only as needed. So a little Q&A. So when delivering instructions, always make sure you have the individual's attention, true or false. This is true. We want to make sure that the individual is paying attention to us before we deliver the instruction. When delivering an instruction, always frame it in the form of a question. False. So we want to make sure when we're providing instructions that they are always in statements. Okay, so next we're going to talk about behavioral momentum. So behavioral momentum is when you deliver a few easy instructions before introducing a more challenging task. So it's just sort of a flowing sequence of instructions. So we refer to the simple instructions as high probability behaviors. So these are behaviors that the individual is really likely to engage in, or behaviors that they often engage in. And then the more difficult tasks are referred to as low probability behaviors. So these are tasks or behaviors that the individual are less likely to engage in. So when to use behavioral momentum. So we're going to use behavioral momentum before you ask an individual to do something they're less likely to do. You may know that they do not want to do it because they might frequently say no to it or engage in behavioral challenges following the request. Once you have established that your individual does not want to cooperate with your instruction, asking again won't help. So we're going to try to use behavioral momentum. And here's how we do it. So we're going to identify 3 instructions that the individual will likely comply with, the high probability behaviors. So we're going to provide the first instruction and then prompt when necessary. So you can see over on the right side, they have some instructions that they have providing the individual. So I could tell the individual to clap and then provide as much prompting for them to complete that task. Immediately after they have completed the task, I will provide reinforcement and specific praise for cooperation. And then I'm going to provide the second instruction, and then I'm going to immediately reinforce compliance. So this could be stop. And then I'm going to provide the third instruction, which could be dance or sit. And then I'm going to provide reinforcement right away. And then in a similar tone and pace, I'm going to provide the instruction of the desired behavior, which in this situation is putting their shoes on. And once they put their shoes on, I want to immediately praise and reinforce compliance. And I want to really amp up my reinforcement for this compliance. So maybe I'm pairing it with an edible, maybe I'm pairing it with a tangible item. So really making sure that I'm providing a lot of good quality reinforcement for the target behavior. So how behavioral momentum works. So the main point of behavioral momentum is to get the individual's behavior to come into contact with reinforcement for following instructions. So we're teaching them that when they follow instructions, reinforcement is going to come. Therefore, building momentum up so that they are more likely to cooperate with a more difficult or less desired instruction. So just as a note, we're not going to use behavioral momentum when the individual is agitated or engaging in challenging behaviors. That's not the time to use behavioral momentum. When we're going to use it when an individual is still calm, but just not cooperating with an instruction. Here is an example of behavioral momentum.
Go ahead. Hi, Ben. Hey. Take this. Nice job taking the pen. Pass me the water bottle. Awesome work. Clap your hands. Nice work. Stand up. Good job standing up, Ben.
So in this example, The staff deliver 3 different simple requests. So passing the pen, passing the water bottle, clapping hands, and they provide praise after each one of these. And then they deliver the target instruction of standing up. And you can see that the praise gets a lot more enthusiastic when the target behavior is completed. So things to keep in mind. So every individual has some instructions that can be used in behavioral momentum. So select an instruction that the individual can follow, such as stand up, look at me, or sit down. You can also use verbal responses such as count to 5 or what's the name of your dog. So a good practice would be to have a short list of instructions ready to use prior to the beginning. Sometimes it takes more than 3 simple instructions to build enough momentum for the individual to cooperate with the more difficult target responses. So we can add this, we can go up to 5, we can add more simple instructions to build more momentum. In these cases, stating 1 or 2 of the simple instructions more than once may be effective. So you can reuse some of the instructions that you previously used. Or identify it and using more than 3 simple instructions may be helpful. So a little Q&A. Behavioral momentum is when you deliver a few blank instructions before introducing a more challenging task. And the answer is easy. So B, easy instructions before you introduce some more challenging tasks. Behavioral momentum should be used when the individual is showing signs of agitation. True or false? False. So a takeaway from this information is 3 components of delivering reinforcement. So remember distinctiveness, immediacy, and reinforcer variation. So we're going to get the individual's attention before giving the instruction. We're going to stand 3 to 5 feet away from the individual when delivering an instruction. We're going to use clear, simple language. And then we can use behavioral momentum to gain cooperation for more challenging instructions. Any questions or feedback, you can email us at the email listed below. Thanks for watching, and we will chat next time. Have a good one.